Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the online support program. I'm Razia Ali, your computer science teacher. Before starting the new topic of computer security and ethics, let's recap the previous topics which we have done. The first topic was computer security. Second was cybercrime. Third was hacker and cracker. Fourth, malware and types of malware. Fifth, how malware spreads and how to protect our computer from different types of malware, antiviruses and anti-spyware. These are the topics which we have done in previous lectures or videos. So you can check the videos to understand these topics. Let's start with the new topic. The topics are authentication, authorization, authorized and unauthorized access, authentication methodologies. So the first authentication methodology is username and password. The second is personal identification number. Third, access card. And fourth, biometrics. And the fifth one is multi-modal authentication, which is combination of these four methodologies. So let's start with the first topic. The first topic is authentication. Authentication means to identify a person. Basically, if we say in short, authentication means to identify a person. When a person wants to access any account in computer, or want to access computer, or want to access a network, so he has to be identified. A person can be identified by username, password, biometrics, access card, PIN, and so on. So authentication means to identify a person for access to the computer. Computer security authentication means verifying the identity of a user logging onto a network or computer password. Digital certificates, smart cards, and biometrics can be used to prove the identity of the user to the network. So in short, authentication means to identify a person to use the computer. Second topic is authorization. What is authorization? When a person is identified, so he is allowed to use or access to the computer. When a person is allowed to use the computer, or a person can access something on computer, so that is known as authorization. Authorization means a person is allowed to access anything or something on computer. Authorization and authentication is connected to each other. When a person is authenticated, then he is authorized. After authentication, person is authorized to use anything on computer. So authorization is the act of checking to see if a user has the proper permission to access a particular file or perform a particular action, assuming that user has successfully authenticated himself. So after identification, a person is authorized to use anything in computer. Authorization is the process of giving someone permission to do or have something. Fine. The next topic is authorized and unauthorized access. What is authorized and unauthorized access? When person is authenticated, when a person is identified by username, password, biometrics, PIN card, so he is allowed to use or he is allowed to access to the computer, so that is known as authorized access. When a person enters a wrong password or username, or person is not identified by any authentication method, so that is and if a person access to the computer, that is known as unauthorized access. Access the computer or use the computer without permission, without identifying, that is known as unauthorized access. Hope you understand. Authorized access is to access a computer, data, or network with authorization by the owner of the administrator. And unauthorized access is when someone gains access to the website, program, server, service, or other systems using someone else's account or other methods. So if a person hacks a computer and uses the computer without anyone's permission, honest permission, so that is known as unauthorized access. Let's start with the next topic, authentication methodologies. So different types of methodologies can be used for identifying a person on a network for using their accounts. If a person wants to access, the first authentication method is by which a person can access the computer or can be identified. That is known as username and password. For example, if you want to open a Facebook account, so you have to enter username and password, then you can access to your account. By entering username and password, you can access Facebook account, Instagram, and so on. If the password and username is correct, then you can access. And this is the method, it is commonly used method to which a person can be identified easily and can access their account. So the username and password authentication mechanism authenticates users with their username and password credential, which is already stored in the access manager folder. So it is the commonly used authentication method. The second authentication method is personal identification number, PIN. Its best example is ATM card. If you want to draw some money from ATM machine, so you have to put ATM card in ATM machine, then you have to enter a PIN number, personal identification number. By entering that personal identification number, your ATM card access to the bank computer. So that number which is used by a person for drawing money, that's known as personal identification number. So but it is secret. A personal identification number or someone's redundantly a PIN number is a numeric or alphanumeric password used to process of authenticating a user accessing a system. Its best example is ATM cards PIN number. So personal identification number is a personal number. You can use it for identifying yourself on computer, to access to the computer. Fine. The fourth one is access card. Access card is same as ATM card, but it doesn't need any password, username, or PIN number. It is usually used for security gates, and they do not require username. They are commonly used to open security gates in offices and many other places where unauthorized people are not allowed to enter. Access cards are also used to open barriers of parking areas. They are an alternate to key. It's alternate to key. If you don't want to use key, so you can put access card machines and can open hotel room, and you can also use access card in hotel rooms as you to open the doors. A plastic card with a microchip or magnetic strip containing encoding data that is read by passing the card through or over an electronic device used to provide access to restricted or secure areas or systems. So access cards are the cards used to open any security gate. Fine. This is example of access card. Fine. The next topic is biometrics. What is biometrics? Biometrics refers to authentication methods based on physical characteristics of individuals, such as features of face, hand geometry, retina, voice, and fingerprint. It provides highly secured identification and personal verification technology. Biometrics based systems are used for financial transactions, electronic. It provides more accurate authentication than using username and password or PIN. Biometric is associated with particular individual, hence it cannot be borrowed, stolen, forgotten. Forging in biometric is particularly impossible, and it is impossible to hack the biometrics physical things in a person. So this is example of biometrics by hand, by voice, retina. uh, you can be identified by these physical characteristics in a computer. So this is one of the authentication method. The another topic is multi-modal authentication. What is multi-modal authentication? When you want to use more than one authentication method, then that is known as multi-modal authentication. For example, if you want to open a computer for identifying in a computer, or opening an account, opening an account, or identifying for identification, if you want to use biometric, access card, PIN, all of them together, so that's known as multi-modal authentication method. Multi-modal authentication is a security system that requires more than one method of authentication from independent categories of credential to verify the user's identity for a login or other transactions. So you can use more methods for one authentication device. So you have assignment for today. The first question is differentiate between authentication and authorization. What is authentication and what is authorization? You have to write in detail, but let me tell you in short. Authentication means to identifying person, or authorization means to allow a person to access a computer network. The second question is what are common methodologies used for authentication? So you have to write down all the methodologies which can be used for authentication. Name any 3 places where authentication of people is required. You have to write the name of places where authentication methodologies are used for identifying a person. Which authentication methodologies provides highly secure identification and verification? Justify your answer. Which identification method is highly used? So thank you. Do these questions in your copy. Hope you will do.